Hello everyone, and we are finally back for part 2 of the Matthis solo. Yeah, remember to subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get into it. So, if you remember, the rules are, once we get Matthis, he has to do all the combat, but I can deploy anyone I want for any reason, be it deployment position, healing, stealing, anything I want. And, as long as no one else is equipped with a weapon, like if an ambush spawn comes, hits Marth, but Marth deals no damage, it doesn't have a weapon equipped, then that doesn't matter, I don't need to reset. Anyway, so the first thing we have to do in this lovely solo run is actually recruit Matthis. So I send Doga down here to go get him, go lure him, and we have to have, Julian talk to him. Because if you don't know, Lena has been kidnapped in this one, so Matthis and Julian must join forces to defeat Duhura instead of just them hating each other this time. Hey, that was uncalled for. Why do you always keep picking on me? If you continue like this, you'll make Miss Lena sad. Oh, it's Julian. Are you still clinging on to Lena? No way I'll hand her over to a thief like you. Don't worry, Lena and I just aren't close. I just want to help her. Oh, I finally understand. You're pretty cool, Julian. Well, I never expected to hear you say that. Really? I was forced to join the nobles. I didn't really want to fight. Well, little brother. That's fine. My cute sister Lena. So, Matthis and Julian are now brothers. They have to go find Matthis' sister. Because if you remember in part 1 of this, Lena died. So now they have to go rescue her from Matthis' clutches. The thing is, even though Matthis can wield the Silver Lance at base, we don't have an armor slayer like we did last time, so we have to rely on a Silver Lance crit. And so we just keep fighting, keep trying to get a crit. And eventually one does come. We do get a crit eventually. We just keep healing with Malaysia, heal. You know how it is. The first few chapters are always the hardest because at this point Matthis hasn't had his steroids yet. So it's very hard, as you can imagine. Beating an entire game with one unit. Definitely not how the devs wanted you to do it. So we just keep fighting. It's a slow start, but don't worry, it gets better. It gets way better than this. Yep, so Matthis will eventually defeat this general. Eventually. Except he got crit. Remember when I said we got a crit? I wasn't talking about Matthis. So here's what I do. I reset. I use Paula to lure Matthis away from the boss so we can kill the boss safely and then recruit him. Technically, not breaking the rules because we hadn't recruited Matthis yet before the combat started. So we're just gonna have Lind go down to the boss, hit him with an aura, and have that be that. And then have Julian recruit him again, and then we can go on to the next chapter. And just like that, the boss is dead. Julian go gets Matthis, and as I said, on to the next chapter. Now, this chapter was hard. Luckily, we did get an important tool the last chapter. A shard that increases all of his growth rates by 5. So when he beats up all the pirates this chapter, he will be getting better levels than he usually would. Now the thing is, we get a very important character this chapter called Yumina, who has a rescue staff, and only she can use it. So we have to make sure that she survives. So I traded Ogma and Cyrus's weapons so they couldn't attack the pirates. Then have, Matthis deal all the pirates in the front, so our starting crew don't have to deal with them. And then rescue Matthis over there. Now, luckily for us, we did get some very nice defense level ups that actually made the pirates ignore Matthis, so he could just take them out at his own pace without having to deal with dying. So that was nice. Those defense level ups right there were very lucky. And yeah, so this next part here is just Matthis dealing with the pirates one by one. And something very interesting happens this chapter. We actually do reach level 20 eventually in this chapter, and we did get the Master Seal last chapter, which means that we can actually promote Matthis the chapter right after we get him. Which is a very fun, yes. Fun, yes. I agree. So yeah, Matthis is just slowly dealing with the pirates here. And then after this, after this chapter, he gets his promotion. And then the entire process is much quicker, because the devs probably didn't expect you to level 20 by chapter 4 and then promote a guy. He's going to be stronger than our Jagan by the end of this chapter. And with his promotion, he should have no trouble killing the boss like he did last chapter. You know, I'm just flashing the stats there so you can see him slowly progress and level up. We actually did get a few resistance level ups this chapter, which is very unlikely. All the resistance level ups in Fire Emblem 3 are very, very low, so I'm actually surprised we got any at all. But hey, that's the power, baby. That's the power. And then I eventually come back and deal with some guys at the front, and then fight some extra reinforcements that I didn't have to fight, but I just wanted to get to level 20 before I promoted. So yep, just fighting these guys, leveling up more, at level 17 right now. Yep. Yeah, by this point the X-Pirates guys are no match. I've just leveled up so much and gotten so many good level ups that these guys are really no match. So the key to this solo run was just getting Matthis rolling right early. If you remember in the last run, you know, there were some of these we couldn't deal with, like those horsemen from like chapter 9, like the Port Warren one. And this playthrough we won't really have that problem because Matthis will be balling right from the beginning. And that's the last of the pirates there. And now we can finally move on and fight the boss. But not before we promote, of course. Well, of course we have to go fight those other enemies, I guess, before I promoted. Silly me, silly me. Silly me indeed. Matthis fights these stupid clowns. There, yeah. And then I finally promote, and well, would you look at that, new stats. Just heal on the fort so I don't have to waste heal staves. Fight the Pirate King, and that is that. On to the next chapter. Nothing too important happens this chapter since Matthis is all maxed out. You know, Max Matthis. We can easily plow through all the enemies, and we do want to kill all the thieves heading towards the top house, because that house has the hammer, and we personally will not be using it this run, since you cannot repair staves with it, otherwise I would repair the warp staff, so we just sell it instantly. However, what we buy with it, well, we don't buy anything. We sell it for 20,000 gold, and get Matthis all the supplies he needs. So this chapter isn't really a big deal. We do have to fight some Draco Knights, but at this point Matthis is so powerful that the Draco Knight problem isn't really a problem. He can just Silver Lance them, as you see here. Quite easily, in fact. Now, the shard we get from the boss this chapter isn't as important as the one we get from the boss next chapter. Well, actually, no. We get it straight from a chest, but we'll get into that when we get into it. So pretty much Matthis takes out all the Ballista, takes out all the Draco Knights. So because we want to stop the thieves, because I need to... Well, Matthis is fighting the Draco Knights in the first place, because thieves spawn right there. And I want Matthis to kill all the thieves so Marth can safely get the hammer and staff. Which of course he does. So we fight the last Draco right there. Very nice. And then I assume we move Marth around. Oh, yeah, so Marth goes around the castle, as he does. You know, Marthy things right there. And he gets the hammer, and now he'll just have to walk around the mountain, buy some stuff, and then seize. So I do buy some supplies like lances and stuff for Matthis, sell some useless crap like the Oratome that I won't be using at all this run. Buy some door keys, buy some volinaries, buy some lives, everything we need. And with that, we are on to the next chapter. In this chapter, we take on General Lang and his Cancer Shard, but more importantly, we want to get a shard that raises our speed growth by a lot. Because Matthis only has a 20% speed growth, so this shard combined with our shard that boosts everything by 5% gives Matthis quite a high speed growth, actually. So I want to get that before he beats too many enemies this chapter, and luckily I do, because Marth's Fire Emblem, he can open chests with it, while Julian goes to get Rickard. And with that, Julian can just start taking down all of these enemies and gain a lot of speed in the process. A lot, and I mean a lot of speed. He will pretty much never be doubled again, and he will double most things, even heroes, as you will see next chapter. So yeah, Matthis, we're just bopping all the reinforcements first, because I don't want the reinforcements to catch Smart, or anyone off guard while we're going for the throne. And it's pretty much the usual routine at this point, Matthis just bopping everyone in the map to ensure the safety of his friends. What a nice guy. What a nice guy, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, the final reinforcement is destroyed. We can safely move everyone up to deal with Samto? Yeah, Samto. I've never used this guy, I don't really remember his name. But to rip off Navarre and get his shard, which we need. We need all the shards to get the good ending, so collecting them was a hard part of this process since I'm only using one character. But yeah. And with that out of the way, we can go get the third shard this map, since you get a lot of them this map. And go kill the evil General Lane, who has been harassing his citizens for far too long. He tries to play the fool here like, oh, mercy, heart, no. Yeah, he's faking it the whole time. Luckily, Matthis delivers sweet justice while we take out the last of Lang's men. And with that, that is the chapter. With this chapter, we'll be showing off Yumina's real purpose. We're going to use her rescue staff to rescue Fina the Dancer, who trades Navarre's weapon to her, so she can't fight any of the thieves, and Navarre can't fight any of the thieves. And we just do kill Ashtorm right off the bat here and get the Miracle Sword. With Matthis' inflated stats from being the only unit to get EXP, the heroes aren't really a problem at all. There are some thieves coming down, but we just have Doga stand there to defend our squishy units. He doesn't enter combat. His defense is so high that the thieves just never enter combat with him in the first place. So no rule breaking there. Yep. Unfortunately, they do... Well, the Doga strategy I got from this reset, because I had to reset it, because they kept attacking the units, so that's why I sent Doga. But yeah, luckily Matthis pretty consistently deals with those heroes. I gave him the Killer Lance to just crit them all. And Ashram is pretty weak, all things considered. I could have recruited him. Well, no, I couldn't recruit him this chapter. I could have recruited him later. But it's just not worth the effort since I'm using Matthis anyway. And this gives us early access to the Miracle Sword in case we need it. So I have Luke sell and buy some crap we might need for later. A mage does hound Marth, but I gave him Volinaries, and it's the only enemy that tries to attack him, so it's not a big deal. And once Matthis kills this boss, he does get the Lightning Sword, which might be convenient later. And with that, Marth can seize that, and on to the next chapter. This, overall, is a pretty basic chapter. We just have to nab another shard from the thief, and then head north to defeat George the Archer, who has another shard. George isn't that threatening of a boss, it's more of these armor knights that have problems since they don't get one-rounded by my Silver Lance. So I have to try harder to crit them and whatnot to deal with them effectively. Luckily though, once we do get past that small wave of armor knights, it's just two snipers, one of which being George, which we can just one-round, like, really easily. Yeah, I think I do have Matthis here go out of his way to get an arm scroll, so we can give it to Wendell, because Wendell has, I think, the highest weapon rank out of all the staff users, and I want him to use the against staff later. And with that, that is the chapter, and on to the next one. Alright, ladies and gents, this chapter I had to cut out a major part in the middle just in the footage, because this is a desert chapter, as you can probably tell, and it took so long. And if I play the footage at times 16 in my movie editor, then it distorts this audio right here. So unless you wanted this video to be much, much longer and about Matthis individually beating up dudes in the desert because they will not attack him on enemy phase because he's so strong, well, then this might not be the video for you, I'm sorry to say. So that's pretty much what this is. We have to get Marth to that village on time, while Matthis goes around and punches each individual mage. So if you want to see that, go watch a boxing match or something. So yeah, we get Minerva. She has the shard we need. I use her at the bottom to lure around the heroes, so we don't have to deal with... Yeah, there was the cut right there. So we don't have to deal with them catching up to Marth, so I just lure them around, go back and forth. Because she's a flyer, she's not impeded by desert movement. Yeah, so Matthis punches each individual mage, my favorite. Luckily, this is the only desert chapter in this game, because Kaga surely would not put a second even worse one, right? Right? On to the next chapter, ladies and gentlemen. This chapter was relatively simple. Really, all the enemies just retreat once you have Wendell talk with Arion, his apprentice. So after that, the chapter pretty much ends, and all the enemies retreat. I do have Marisa use her thief staff that we got last chapter on a couple of chests, you know, gold, some staves, stuff like that. We do need that staff for later. We got it last chapter, but we do need it later for one very important item, which I will go into once we actually get there. But yeah, really, two things you need to do this chapter. Recruit Arion, and as you'll see in a sec, we use Matthis, the lightning sword we got earlier, to hit a thief. through the wall to get the silver card, which lets us buy everything from half off. And that is the chapter, ladies and gents. I have a very dramatic track of a very disappointing moment in FE4 playing in this chapter for reasons you can probably guess. It is a nothing but desert. I have to have Julian walk around to collect some treasure I need, like an angelic robe for Matthis to cap his HP, a luck ring for Matthis to, get his luck higher since he still has some stats he needs to cap. And I really don't know what they were thinking with this one. I did a video a couple weeks ago about the worst map. That this one was briefly brought up in it. But geez Louise. It's not the worst map in Fire Emblem, it's pretty easy. Now, the Fire Emblem 12 version is anything but easy, but we're not playing Fire Emblem 12. But really, the footage here, what you see is what you get. We have Matthis slowly crawl around the desert, getting all the enemies. We do get the Master Sword this chapter, which will be very important for the endgame, since Matthis is footlocked in that and he can only use swords. And the Master Sword is a very powerful sword with a high crit rate, which helps us deal with powerful endgame enemies. And yeah, we do get a lot of useful items this chapter, like Marth will visit the secret shop to buy like the Worm Slayer and stuff. But very boring overall. We have to like buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. We do eventually make it though. Not the hardest chapter. Definitely not the hardest chapter. It's just that it takes so long. There are 12 move guys. What were they thinking? Alright, ladies and gents, on to the next chapter. The beginning of this chapter itself is a bit RNG dependent. All the enemies have about a 40% chance to hit him. However, that means he has to dodge a lot, and this game does not have double RN, so you saw there I had to reset. So the thing is, right, I have to rely on luck a bit. But once we get past the first part, it's not too hard. We actually do get the last shard this chapter, which ensures that we get the good ending, which is good. Good ending is good. Yeah. Unfortunately, the shard is all the way to the right, and I only brought a few units, so I can't block the reinforcements. So we do have to outrun them a bit. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm setting up carefully behind the fort as to not trigger them, because once you go on them or ahead of them, the reinforcements start spawning, and I want to get the biggest head start on them I can possibly get. So yeah, you'll see here we'll go off to the right to go finally get that last star shard, which means we do have to part way with the shards. Usually this is a very tragic moment in any FE3 run, because that means you have to share one orb with all your units. But for this, it doesn't matter too much at all, because our guy's already maxed out. And we do get a very cool orb in exchange, so hey, it's a win-win-win if you ask me. Anyway, so now we outrun these guys. We are making our way to the right, in which we will defeat some of the final fire dragons, and on to the next chapter. Right off the bat in this chapter, I have Melissa use the Thief Staff to get the boots. This gives Matthis 12 move outdoors, which is just a great convenience, as you'll see in this chapter, because it lets him poke ice dragons, come back to get healing, and then just keep going and going. However, this chapter also has a secret shop where we can buy physics. So Matthis, after we visit that secret shop, will just buy an absolute crap ton, so I never have to worry about being near a healer again. Which is very convenient. That means Matthis can keep up momentum without having to ever use a voluntary or retreat or anything like that. So yeah, I'm very glad that secret shop is here where it needs to be. As you can see, we're just punching ice dragons right now with the steel lance. Could not one-round them with the iron lance. Had to use the steel one. Even with capped strength, the ice dragons are too strong. See, I have Matthis clear out those brigands that are right there, so Marth can go buy his goods, and buy the goods he does. We sell a bunch of crap we don't need, buy a bunch of physics, and then just move on to the boss. A very short chapter, longer if you go out of your way to get all the chests and whatnot, and yada yada, play it right. But, this is a solo run. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that at all. So yeah, I have Matthis bait out these flying dragons. Pretty much he's a god now, can't be stopped. He has physic, cap stats, and nearly everything. It's gonna take a hell of a truck to run over Matthis. And he beats the boss right there, and on to the next chapter. In this chapter, we finally get the Warp Staff, which means we'll be able to skip chapters later. We won't use it for quite a while. We only get one in this compared to Book 2. Compared to Book 1, where we only got one. So we do have to be careful and save it. We do use every last bit of it for the finale, so watch out for that. Other than that, it's a pretty basic chapter. The thieves can't do much damage. The biggest problem are the ice dragons, which are very inaccurate. They do true damage though, so like anytime Matthis gets hit, it's going to be a big chunk of damage. So anyway, we have Marth talk to Godo. He gets the star sphere and whatnot. And the light sphere actually makes it so we can't use weapon uses, so we never need to buy Matthis another weapon again, which is very convenient. And now I was thinking I didn't have to recruit Tiki, so I foolishly walked to this side of the room. But yeah, so now I have to walk Marth all the way back to get Tiki. It's how it is, folks. It's how it is. We get her, never going to use her, not even once. This is a solo run. And with that, on to the next chapter. In this chapter, we have to deal with Abel the Traitor and finally retake Marth's homeland again, as he lost his homeland twice in Fire Emblem 3, once in Book 1, once in Book 2. You gotta love Marth, the Hero King. What a reliable leader. I sure do love. You know, everyone entrusts Marth to this continent by the end of the game, but like, he loses his homeland twice. Why do you trust this guy? Anyway, this chapter's pretty easy. We kill Abel the Traitor. He takes a pot shot at Marth, his own leader, so for that he deserves to die. I didn't play anyone else this chapter like Wendell or Fina because the ballista are set up right there, so having them around would be too much of a liability. And the reinforcements in this chapter only spawn if you go into the shop, which we don't need at this point, so I can just avoid the reinforcements altogether. So we just go around this big circle, kill everyone. S died, by the way, but, well, I like Est. Est is the best, but not in this run. Not in this run. And we kill the guy who asked us if we're even human for being able to defeat his weak army, but we're not human. We're Matthis. On to the next chapter, ladies and gents. In this chapter, we get the Earth Sphere, which I need to deploy a lot of guys for because I need Matthis to spawn right next to him. Because for some reason, that's how spawning in this game works. Luckily, they fixed that in Fire Emblem 6, another reason it's the best one. But anyway, this is the first chapter. Matthis really gets to flex his Miracle Sword because now it has infinite uses because of the Light Sphere. So I can just one-round all the heroes and everyone, just spamming the Mercius again and again and again until they all get beaten to death. I don't really care about a lot of the treasure of this chapter. There are thieves making off with it, but at this point I just don't need it. So I just let him go. It's not like I could anyway, because I gotta deal with all the thieves. I do send Marth and Julian up though to get the remaining treasure. And Matthis, with all of his power, might, and wisdom, can just march straight into the boss room and bop everyone on the head, everyone, even the boss. And he just clears out those guys so Marth can safely enter, like that. Just something in the convoy, and that is the chapter, ladies and gentlemen. On to the next one. So, the gimmick with this chapter is that half of the enemies are weak, and you have to spare all the weak enemies, so then you can recruit Sheena, because she won't get recruited anyway else. But the thing is, we're only using Matthis this run, so why would I care about recruiting Sheena? So I pretty much just ignore all the treasure, all the objectives. I have Matthis kill whoever I want to have him kill. With the Light Sphere at this point, it's not like I'm wasting any resources doing it. Yeah, you know, it's just... there's really no reason not to, folks. You know, I don't kill them if I don't have to, but if they're in the way, then yeah, they're done. A couple enemies in there. I have Matthis block people for him. You know. And then we go, and we kill Sheena, and that is the chapter, ladies and gents. This is a relatively peaceful chapter, actually, because we can just have Marth be rescued over to that house, and once you talk to the guy in that house, all the enemies up north retreat, and we get the Life Sphere, which will fully restore Matthis' life every turn once he has it. So really not a lot of fighting this chapter, except the generals and the wyverns that spawn right next to the throne, but that's not really an issue at this point for our main man, Matthis. As you can see, he's already plowed through most of them. And if he does get damaged, we can just physic him with Wendell, because hey, that's what we bought him for. And with that, ladies and gents, we are on to the next chapter. I don't bother deploying Wendell or Fina this chapter for dancing. Matthis has the Light Sphere, the Life Sphere, so he can just automatically heal at the start of every player phase, so Yeah, he's pretty much an unkillable god at this point, so we can just send him directly into the enemy lines without fear of consequence, and just have him kill literally everyone, and I mean everyone. I mean, just look at this, folks. There is no mercy, because we do have to get Marth to the throne safely. That is a factor, as you can imagine. So all the Cavaliers, all the King's Men, all the Ballista, dead, dead, dead. None of them put a dent in Matthis. I don't know why people say this character is bad, folks. I mean, I've pretty much beat 2 separate Fire Emblem games with him, if you count the 2 books as separate games. So I don't see what the issue is. I just think y'all are bad at Fire Emblem. I mean, you seeing this? Are you seeing this? On to the next chapter, folks. And with that, we are finally ready to fight the Dark Emperor Harden. Remember that warp staff we got earlier? You see this big castle? Yeah, I'm not dealing with that kooky nonsense at all. So we will just send Matthis up to the throne room like this, and we will fight the Dark Emperor Harden. Here we go. Let's see here. Rebels, did you come here to get yourselves killed? I'll show you to fear my Gradius. Or Gradius in this patch, anyway. So Matthis attacks, 20 damage done. Harden will counterattack, 20 damage done, and a critical hit. And down goes the Dark Emperor, ladies and gents. And Matthis will take the Gradius, take the Dark Orb, and let's see what this Dark Emperor has to say for himself after causing all this grief. Marth, Your Highness, I have finally awakened from my deep dream. Your Highness, I am deeply sorry. I fought with my inner demons. However, I was too weak. I resisted with all my might, but I still lost. I hoped for Your Highness's hand to end my life. Well, you got killed by Matthis, buddy, so I hope you're happy with that. That way I could be saved. Your Highness, Nina, please take care of Nina. I hope you can tell her in the end I still loved her. I hope she can forgive me. And down goes the Dark Emperor. We get his Gradius, and that's the end of the game, folks. The end of the game. Or it would be the end of the game if Marth was not about to be bamboozled. However, we have to complete the Fire Emblem first. There it is, folks. You know what I don't get? Several people touched that Dark Sphere that made Harden go lunatic in Awakening, but nobody goes crazy in that game, so I don't get it. Can Maida email me back and tell me what the deal with that is? Anyway, so now we just have to warp Marth's butt to the throne, as we do in situations like these. And now we end the game like this. We seize, and look, all the clerics. Oh wait, no, it was a prank. The Fire Emblem shows us that it was a prank the whole time. Oh no, next chapter. This chapter, I tell you about this chapter. Chapter 21 certainly is a chapter. I think it's a very memorable chapter for how long it is and the Draconite reinforcements. On to the next chapter, ladies and gents. And ladies and gents, we are finally at the endgame. Unlike FE12, it's not divided into 3 separate chapters. We have to essentially beat 3 chapters in one go. Matthis, I have him use the Devil's Sword to quickly disband these bandits. I had to reset this chapter a ton to get it right. These bandits, they don't get one-rounded, like, at all, and I don't have the Light Sphere at this point since it got absorbed into the Fire Emblem. So I have to try really hard to keep Matthis alive in his physic and whatnot. Luckily, Wendell has enough power to heal him with physic, because I did give him extra power rings earlier once Matthis had capped strength, so his healing is more potent than it would usually be, since he only has like a 10% strength growth. Anyway, Matthis is easily able to like take out the mages. They're not really a threat at all. And I have Marth get a door key for Matthis, because if we get Julian anywhere near that door, he's going to get crunked so hard. Like, there are Meteor Tome guys in there, there are dragons. But I did bring Julian along for a special reason you'll see in a bit. Anyway, so Matthis is slowly approaching the throne. right here, you know, he's going, killing the mages. What else do you expect from the Matthis solo run at this point? I mean, it's not like you're going to start fighting with Marth or Julian. Hey, maybe a Julian solo run. No, you'll never catch me dead doing that anyway. So we open the door. Luckily with the Master Sword I mentioned earlier in the Desert chapter, we're easily able to use our 50 crit rate to just kill these guys instantly. These Axe Brigands are no match. We set Matthis on the top right corner there so he's not in Fenrir range. That will knock him down to 1 HP and then he has a big chance for death. Trust me, I know. I'm the one who had to reset this chapter. So we go, you know, we heal him, we end the turn again, and then we can finally go kill the boss. And then we can just warp Marth to the throne so we don't have to deal with those guys. And yep. Then there's Endgame Part 2. A relatively simple part. We just warp Matthis near Garneth, and then Garneth will move off the throne. We do kill a Fenrir guy in one hit with the Miracle Sword, because that will, as I said, knock him down to 1 HP, and we don't want that. And then after Matthis survives an enemy phase, we can just warp Marth to the throne. We did use a magic shield there to ensure Matthis' survival though. And with that, onto the true endgame. With this, I have all 3 uses of the Again Staff with Wendell. So I move Matthis up and Julian, and I have Matthis go and fight Matthis. But first we have to bop the clerics, but we do something a little special first, after Matthis bops another cleric. Miss Reyna, wake up, it's me, Julian, what should I do? I know I'm a man with no merits, but for you I will do anything. I don't have any other wishes, I just want to see you smile, Miss Reyna. Smile, I'm begging you, Miss Lena. Oh, Julian, you did come. I believed that you would definitely come. So that's how I could endure the horrors I faced. Julian, I'm sorry. I always acted like a spoiled brat to you. No, just hearing Miss Lena's words is enough for me. Julian, can you listen to a request of mine? Huh? Oh, please, as long as I can do it. From now on, just call me Lena. It seems so impersonal when you call me Miss Lena, because we're going to return to Macedon to live together. Oh, Miss Lena, do you really mean that? I believe the deities forgive me, because I love you. And with that, Lena is saved, and we move her down so she does not get bopped by the Earth Dragons, because that would be horrifying. Remember when that happened in Book 1? Luckily, this is the Book 2 redemption arc. And with that, Matthis can finally fight Matthis. I have resurrected. Stupid humans, I will kill you all. Oh, are you sure about that, buddy? Actually, I'm pretty sure he does land his first hit there, and it does deal a hefty chunk to Matthis, more than half his health. Luckily, we do have Wendell, and now his sister on standby for healing. So, lucky us, I guess. So we just set Matthis up for enemy phase, so we don't risk taking, dying on enemy phase. We heal there. Earth Dragons spawn, but they all have a low hit rate, so I'm not too worried. And we deal the first strike with our Miracle Sword for this run against Matthis. 5 damage. 5 damage. That's 10 out of his 52. Luckily, the Earth Dragons won't ever gang up on us because the Binding Shield just immediately eradicates them all next turn, so we don't have to worry about them stacking. More damage against Matthis. Another skillful dodge by Matthis. And another attack. A critical hit, 15 damage. We're wearing him down. Another enemy turn. More Earth Dragons. Luckily, Matthis is so skilled that he can just dodge them all. Land another hit against Matthis. This truly is the endgame, ladies and gents. This truly is. The fate of the world all lies in Matthis' hands. Can he do it? Another physic, and once again, another round of combat against Matthis. And once again, he will strike with the Miracle Sword. Ba-bop. And ba-bop. More dodges, and, for old time's sake, why don't we have Lena physic him instead of Wendell? I think that'd be fitting, having his sister healing him one last time. And with that, we physic up Matthis to get healed. We dance to heal him again, because, why not? We're already at this point. And heal again. And now, it's time to finish this. It all ends here, ladies and gents. It all ends here. Why have I been defeated so easily? Is this the power of Naga's shield of seals? Nah, dude, you got bopped by Matthis. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But humans, don't forget, as long as greed lives on in your hearts, you will lose the shield, and I will rise from the earth once again. Remember this. And that, ladies and gents, is the Matthis solo run. He did it. Now we just have to get Marth's sweet booty to the throne one last time, and seize.
Reach for my hand, I'll soar away into the dawn. No, I wish I could stay here in cherished halls, in peaceful days.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the War of Heroes has finally come to an end. Only done by Matthis. If you don't believe me, here's the credits. As you can see, only units that we got before Matthis have any battle experience. And with that, I think it's time for some silent reflection. I hope you guys appreciate Matthis as much as I do now. One of my favorite Fire Emblem characters, really. And I'll see you soon.
Lights pass through colored glass in this beloved place. Silver shines, the world dines. A smile
He continued passing his days casually working in Macedonia.
And I can feel I'm breaking free. For just this moment lost in time, I am finally me. Yet still I hide behind this mask that I have become. My blackened heart, scorched by flames of force I can't run from.